this is Operations Officer Windfall in Seattle, Washington. I work for the CIA. Sometimes I do favors for law enforcement. It doesn't do any good because all these motherfuckers are robbing and ripping and stealing and raping and drugging and all over the goddamn place. Where am I? I'm in Amsterdam, home of the homosexual. It's the homosexual capital of the world. Every faggot in the fucking planet goes to Amsterdam because they can get a lot of pot, they can suck dick, which everybody likes to do, and they get paid for it. You ever see that movie? I can't remember the name of the movie. It's a nice movie though. Anyway, it was all about a guy that was a pimp, and he loses his stable of chicks, and then he goes to Amsterdam, and then this guy goes over there, and evidently he visits him on this sinking boat that's in Amsterdam, and anyway, somebody go around killing pimps. Anyway, but at the end, the guy he finds out he's a homosexual, and so he decides to go that way, you know. So he gets a bunch of guys with large cocks, and you know, anyway, basically starts selling their services. Anyway, it was a good movie, but to make it more succinct now, today is the February 22nd, 2013. It's Friday. Time is about 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's a lie because I already am in Amsterdam. I can't get to Seattle unless I take a very fast jet plane, which I can do because I have friends in high places. But anyway, so all right, I'm going to propose a crime. I'm going to envision a crime. All right, now there is a man on a train. And then the black man, it's a big heavy-set black man, has a 9mm that, with the ammunition intact, and he has one chamber. Now, there's a white guy next to him on the train. They stop the train, and they get off. Now, if they had been caught by security, they would have just shot the security guards and left. But they weren't shot because, the security guards weren't shot because they realize these guys are doing this. So anyway, this guy brings the handgun, a 9mm, probably a Beretta, and takes it over to a bus stop where another guy's sitting. Now, they both have large coats on. Now, one guy, white guy, tall, with a baseball cap, he picks up a package that that he has arranged for some funds to be him, that is several $100s, possibly as much as $500. And anyway, and then he walks away with the package. And then that's the black guy. The white guy finds a satchel that the guy has cleverly found in the bushes. It was empty, but he put the 9mm in the satchel and closed it up and laid it beside the white guy, who picked it up, and he walked away. So this white guy walks away with the 9mm in the satchel. It's cocked. It's already cocked. All he has to do is reach in the satchel and shoot. He can kill anybody he wants without them really knowing that they're being shot. Anyway, then what happens is he meets up with a guy at another bus stop. Anyway, he shakes his hand because he seems to know him, but he puts a $100 bill in. He puts several 20s in his hand. Anyway, maybe like $200. Anyway, then he calls an informal taxi service, sometimes called an escort service, and arranges to have a person meet him at a certain location so that he can go and enjoy the company of a nice lady in a hotel in, I don't know, Pierce County. This is all happening tomorrow. No, actually today. No, actually tomorrow. Actually today. No, it's actually happening yesterday, the 21st. So anyway, then what happens is, there's a restaurant called the Subway. But it's not the Subway, but it's like the Subway. And it's across from a hospice. It's not a hospice. It's like a hospice. It's for like very crippled old people. You know, mostly men, geriatric men. But anyway, then what happens is he goes in to the restaurant, which is sort of like the Subway, and he stands there to order food. There's another guy, the other guy that he met before, has already gone in there, ordered a meal, and sitting at the window facing out, looking on the street, so you can see traffic going back and forth. Anyway, now there's these things called push-to-talk, kind of like walkie-talkies, but they're actually something like Motorola developed them. Push-to-talk, you just push it. You push it. It's an open mic. I mean, you can just push it, and as long as it's connected to the right person, then they can tell you what's up. It's almost like a pager, but it's more primitive. Anyway, then what happens is the guy goes into this restaurant where they evidently at the end of the day they have lots of money because they've been serving food all day, especially at lunchtime. Have like a really big lunch crowd, mostly takeout. But anyway, he orders some takeout, fairly sizable order. Anyway, when the person comes to the counter, he hands him he puts down an envelope, which a large number of bills in it, to essentially to pay for his food. He takes it out of the satchel, and then he reaches into the satchel. Of course, he grasps the handgun. Now, with a handgun in his hand, in the satchel, pointed at the belly of the guy behind the counter, there's like a Filipino or Mexican or somebody, he's in a position to shoot the guy dead, right there and then, which he actually expresses in a note. He says, "I have a gun aimed at your belly. It's cocked. I will shoot you dead. And I will follow you wherever you go and shoot you dead, and your mother and your father and your sister and your brother, everybody in your family." And I have people that work for me, they'll also do the same thing, because we're in a syndicate. So anyway, so the guy, seeing that he's sort of outgunned, let's say, there's no Mexican standoff, the guy gives him, the envelope, tells him to pull out what he needs for the sentence. But now most of the paper in there is just paper clippings. Well, what happens is the guy reaches under the counter, opens the till, clears out the entire counter, then reaches down, opens the safe, takes everything out of the safe, says, "Excuse me, sir, I think my shoe's untied." Anyway, I have a cramp in my leg. But, all the while he's loading as much money in that envelope as he can. Anyway, because the envelope has been dropped. When he picks it up and he hands it back to the guy and says, "Oh, here's your envelope back. I'm sorry I dropped it. I had a sudden cramp." Well, not to cramp your style, my friend, but if this kind of activity goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on, what kind of world do you have? You have hell! It's bloody hell! Right? So anyway, so then what happens is, there's a homeless person, sort of a ugly black man, actually, sort of skinny, ugly black man with a funny hat. It has it almost looks like somebody from Arabia. Anyway, they're sitting in a park not too far from this place. And anyway, so what happens is the guy is robbing this restaurant. He basically has succeeded because the guy has given over the money, which is, well, he doesn't actually count it, but it's quite a bit. But he looks in there to make sure there's money in there. It's real. So he's got his money. And the guy goes back ostensibly to finish with the takeout order. Right. Which, of course, he allows that to continue because, he has to get the food, otherwise it looks fishy. So, anyway. So when the takeout order is finished, and it's a big bag, then the guy in the back, there's a safe in the office in the back, he's cleaned out that safe too. Because he wants this guy out of here. He gives him every fucking penny he's got in the safe. Because at first he picks up the line, and then he hears something in the background saying, "We have this rigged. You can't call for help. You're alone, and we're watching the back. So don't try anything." So anyway, gives up, opens the safe, pulls everything out of the safe, every fucking goddamn thing out of the safe. He even drops the fucking key to the safe in there for some reason. And in the takeout order, gives it to the guy. The guy walks away with this big hunk of money. Now, the thing is though, the guy that comes out with the takeout order, evidently, goes around the corner. There's a car that goes around the corner, a sensible escort service, sort of like a chauffeur, taking him to his rendezvous with the hooker. But anyway, she sees him. The lookout informs, clicks, and informs them that they've made a successful robbery. And then what happens is, he goes out, goes right, goes down to a garage where the escort is waiting in a car. Now, before he does that, he for some reason he must drop the satchel with the gun, because it has the gun and it has a lot of money in it too. Not as much money as he got in the takeout order, but a lot. Anyway, but he's got to get rid of that kind of evidence, because it's, a video cameras, surveillance cameras can see it has satchel. If the guy complains he was robbed, which of course he would. Anyway, the owner will see and say this guy has satchel, so he'll tell the police eventually. The police will look for a guy going in there, but he's just an anonymous white guy. So anyway, then what happens is this homeless, this skinny black homeless guy with a funny hat, sort of a purple hat with a tassel, like he's from Saudi Arabia or someplace. Anyway, he sees that somebody has thrown a satchel into the bushes, and of course, being homeless, you want to pick up whatever you can get, because it might have some food in it or something, or maybe drugs. Nifty. So then what happens is, she takes he looks like a girl. It might be a girl, I don't know. Their gender's all mixed up nowadays. You never know who's what, unless you look in their pants, and then you don't really know. But they walk around the corner, sort of they're behind the garage, and then they make their way through a very wooded area in the park, and they circle about. Anyway, in the meantime, they're taking out everything that's in the satchel, and they just throw the satchel away. And then for some reason, they decide to throw lighter fluid on it. But not set it on fire, just throw pitch a lot of light. There was lighter fluid in there. Some lighter fluid, enough. A clear plastic container. This kind of removes some of the telltale fingerprints and other DNA evidence. Anyway, the homeless person, black homeless person, takes, the gun, which is loaded, and the money, and in sort of like a purse, a large purse. It's not really a purse, but more like a duffel bag, but it kind of looks like a purse. And goes down the street. Anyway, sits on a park bench. No, not a park bench, at a bus stop. briefly. Now, this person has put the contents, that is the gun, mostly the gun, some money, into a, I don't know, some kind of little bag, kind of like a really dirty bag, and then place that bag on the park bench, on the bus stop bench, and where another man, the man that was a lookout at the place, comes by, sits there briefly. Anyway, picks up the little bag with the gun and the money, and now he or she, whatever it is, has taken a lot of the money out, about half of it out, and stuffed it in her pants, and then they walk away. And then, so they have a successful robbery. Can't find a gun because the person has a gun is the lookout, and of course they take off with it. The homeless person has been paid, and the guy that organized the robbery has a big bunch of money, pretty much cleaned out the whole place, and plus some takeout. And is going on his way to visit a hooker at a hotel. But when he gets to the hotel, he decides that he doesn't like the hooker, so he asks for a refund, which of course is insulting to the organizer of the escort service. Anyway, so they get away with a lot of money. This is how it works. Every goddamn day, they rob somebody. This whole fucking city is sick. Amsterdam is a sick city.